The frustration is that of an asymmetric warfare. It is a complex operation. It has permeated the societies, both in Nigeria, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad. It is something that started more than 30, 40 years ago. They have penetrated the communities. They have won the communities to their side. That's why you see small hamlet, 1 or 2 people, still you see them hibernating or keeping Boko Haram in those locations. So it's a complex. So it requires a whole of government approach to deal with this. Military activities or military action is just one aspect. And this is one mistake we have been making, that only the military that is seen to solve this thing. It's not. Military cannot solve this action. In the first place, it wasn't the military that started it. There were political, social, economic factors that need to be addressed from the beginning. I don't need to take it back from independence or from the First Republic and so on. Development should be progressive. There should be roads everywhere. There should be employment. There should be hospitals, schools, all over. But I tell you now, yesterday I was counting 5 local governments in Borno State cannot have do not have good access roads to those locations. I'm not indicting anybody. That's the truth. You can't have access since independence up to now. Where do you get the solution? The same thing in the northwest, Niger State, Zamfara. Niger is north central, where we have this incident now of kidnapping. The same thing in Zamfara, in Katsina and Sokoto. There are so many ungovernable spaces. Until those things are penetrated, those locations are penetrated with road infrastructure, with rail, with amenities, in terms of hospitals, schools, and so on, then we carry everybody along. And education is very fundamental. And unless these things are done, we will make, despite the diplomatic efforts, internally we must get it right. And that is the essence of this diplomacy, foreign policy. It's a projection of domestic policy. So if you are able to domicile or curtail these things internally, that's why you project to other countries, and all our neighboring countries will be able to have a very robust defense as well as foreign policy action that will lead to the eradication of all this insecurity in the region. The next issue, sorry I'm taking long because I'm quite passionate about it, and these are the realities, and the truth must be told, because this thing cannot end. I predicted sometimes that it may take another 20 years, and that is the truth, His Excellency Senator Bikula Amosun did mention that the issue still, I think it's related. Insecurity still pervades the nation, and it's still shocking to continue to see things are still getting out of hand, probably. Why, despite all the efforts, finances, equipment, and the rest from all areas. One of my responses is to what I just said, but as far as since 2015, I met an army that is demoralized, an army that had no equipment, even simple troop-carrying vehicle. In Maiduguri, they were using civilian joint task force vehicle to move troops for operation. They were using trailer that carries horses, donkeys, cows, to move troops from one location to the other for operation. But today we have invented our own indigenous vehicles, the Ezgo MRAP, the Conqueror MRAPs, to change the narrative. And if you see, the trend has been that most of those areas that hitherto been occupied by the Boko Haram terrorists have been taken over by our troops. But how do you sustain it? You need more training, you need more manpower, you need more equipment because of the vastness of the terrain. You require a lot of resources. That is on the military side. But more is required on the political and the governance side as well. So unless these things are done comprehensively, deliberately, with serious intervention, we will still continue, this insecurity can continue to lead us. if you look at this insurgency, as I said, is new to us here. But even those that have been experiencing it, especially Afghanistan, Iraq, and some of these, especially Syria and so on, the Middle East generally, and even in some Far East Asian countries, you still have this. But it depends upon the government efforts. Everybody, all stakeholders must be responsible to contain it to the barest minimum. Unless that one is done, it will be very difficult, to contain it completely. But I hope it's not lost. I'm sure with the steps being taken by the government and the collaboration of everybody, all the stakeholders, the National Assembly, of course, has a very good role to play by appropriation, by oversight function, by ensuring the right things are done. We will get it over. I think that is the key, the key solution, as asked. Senator James Manager, yes. I have been to the National Assembly several times since 2015. In fact, even as a colonel, I've been here. I once represented the Chief of Army Staff as a colonel, in the National Assembly. So as far back as 20 years, I've been in this place. So I've interacted, and I appreciate the level of contributions, the level of probing, the level of oversight function of this distinguished Senate. They are men of integrity, men of knowledge and experience. We really have tapped from your knowledge and your experiences in our activities, and this really has prepared me to work as the Chief of Army Staff and related very well with the National Assembly. My state, I have just mentioned it also, is related. The epicenter, that is where the this indoctrination has penetrated so deep, as far back as 60s and early 70s, even as a schoolboy. They used to despise us, those of us that wear uniform and go to school. I've mentioned it here. They see you, schoolboy, that you no longer pray, you no longer respect your teachers. So all these things are the Boko Haram concept, that have been penetrating, 50 years since or more. So it's not something that you just overnight get it right. But we have succeeded. I think with the train, with what we have left behind, in terms of equipment, so much equipment are being imported now. In terms of training, we have improved on it. I left the army, it's so terrible. Our intelligence capacity was so low, very low. But today, it's first class intelligence of the army, So that's the truth. Our training, our cyber capability has grown. Started very well, excellently. We have, there is no formation or unit or service that is better than the Nigerian Army Cyber Command today. And so many other welfare, training of officers. The impact of my training on officers can really be felt in the next 5, 6, 7 years, as they mature and come up and take over command of the army. So these are the things that we have done. Despite my long stay, I think it has paid off. 66 months is a very good period for one really to have. I have changed many concepts of operation to conform to the challenges on the ground. We cannot continue to use the same tactics, the same procedures, over and over again, and we're receiving the same results. We have to change. That's why this super camp concept came up. That's why the mobile strike teams came up. And that's why we have the special army super camps. You can see there are successes that we are having in Faskari, in the northwest, in the northeast, and so on. If this is sustained, I assure you, the insecurity will be reduced to the barest minimum, and complemented with the government efforts, developmental efforts, we'll be able to get it right. Thank you, sir.